Okay, read them like a story. You do not have to make sense of every single thing that you read in the notes. These things, I mean, the understanding, especially related to the scholars in these schools, you develop understanding of their ideas over a course of time. It's a time taking process, first of all, and part of the reason why you find these things to be a little difficult to understand is that they are based on many other scholars works. Like we learned that Frankfurt School, what Frankfurt School scholars said, their work is developed on thoughts of Marxism. Now, see, those of you or anyone who is not familiar with what are the ideas of Marx, of course, they are, I mean, the ideas of Frankfurt School will make little sense for them. So, without actually getting an understanding of Marxism, it is difficult for you to understand Frankfurt School, and similarly then Birmingham School. So a lot of work that you read coming from these scholars is grounded in the works of scholars who came before them. And uh, 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 to understand all of this, in order to understand all of this, you need an extensive amount of reading. For this reason, I keep saying that this is a course that demands extensive reading. So keep reading and keep making sense. I mean, only if you have a general overview of what something is, it's sufficient at this stage. Okay? All right. But today we are going to talk about Birmingham School. Just like Frankfurt School, it is known as Frankfurt School because it started from the University of Frankfurt. Birmingham School also started from the University of Birmingham. That is why it is known as Birmingham School. I have written on this screen that the school began in 1964 by Richard Hoggart. Richard Hoggart was actually the first director of the school, and the school was established as a research institute at the University of Birmingham. That is why it's known as Birmingham School. It was a research institute for postgraduate students. Who are postgraduate students? Who are postgraduate students?
MPhil students.
Good job. MPhil and PhD. So, scholars who are engaged in doctoral studies, scholars who are engaged in masters, because anyone who goes into the business of MPhil or PhD, they are the ones who really want to delve deeper into that field, who really want to dig deeper that particular field to learn more about it. All right. So I was saying that the school was established in 1964. It was a research institute for postgraduate students, and its name was Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies, CCCS. It was its abbreviation. So and commonly it's known as Birmingham School. At that time, many scholars actually they got interested in studying culture. And when we talk about encoding decoding model, we are not doing it today, we will do it inshallah in our next class on Monday. So then you will come to know that how media and culture are interrelated and how they inform each other. This is what I am leaving this for our next discussion. So here I am only briefly explaining what Birmingham School was. The primary focus of center, what they were doing was they were reconceptualizing popular culture and how it can be used as a site of resistance and negotiation for marginalized and disempowered people in society. Okay, personally, I am a kind of scholar. We all are scholars, especially those of us who get into the business of MPhil studies, and most of you, inshallah, will be pursuing your MPhil studies in future. So most of the scholars who get into the business of MPhil and PhD, they have their research interests. Personally, my research interests include to study power, use of power and abuse of power, the use and abuse of power, like issues related to imperialism. Similarly, issues related to Orientalism as well. Very briefly, I have studied Orientalism for many years now. Orientalism is how West represents East. When we say West, and I have studied Orientalism from media standpoint. For example, we see Hollywood movies, okay? And I'm sure you all have seen Arabian Nights. Not Arabian Nights, what's the movie? Aladdin, the movie Aladdin. It's based on Arabian Nights. Have you seen Aladdin movie? In Urdu
Yes.
we call it Aladdin. Yes, a Disney's movie. And you see I mean, right in the beginning of the movie began with a song, and the song goes like this, that oh, I come from a faraway land, it's hot, it's barbaric, but it's home. Arabian nights, Arabian days, hotter than hot. This is how the song goes. I mean, if the song is available on YouTube, and you can, if you have forgotten, you can play it again to recall it. So see, now it's a Hollywood production. It's a production that comes from a media house in a Western country. And here we see a Western country's production house representing a part of country in Eastern world. West is representing East. And the song in the beginning says, oh, I come from a faraway land, it's hot, it's barbaric, but it's home. And I come from a land where caravan camels roam. You see that kind of representation, that these people maybe are nomadic. They have roaming caravans of camels in East. This is how East looks like. It's hot, it's barbaric. So this is representation. And this is, I mean, why is Hollywood doing this? We all know the power of Hollywood. It's a powerful media house that comes from a powerful country. And here, a powerful media house in a powerful country is using its resources to represent East. The use of power, the use and misuse, or rather abuse of power, we see happen. I mean, not all East is like that. Even I'm sure in many, I mean, if many of you may have been to Saudi Arabia, it's not like Saudi Arabia is full of roaming caravans of camels and all that. So I was saying that I am interested in use in the study of use and abuse of power. And you see what Center was doing at this Birmingham school? They were studying marginalized groups within a culture, how culture becomes a site of resistance for marginalized people, for disempowered people. Who are marginalized people? Who are marginalized people?
Ma'am,
Working
just
class.
Minorities?
One by one. Nimra, you go first, and then Irha, and then Usama. Yes.
Working class.
Not always, but yeah, good job, Irha.
Minorities?
Minorities, yes, marginalized, weaker groups who barely get their representation, who barely get their voices out. Yes, there was someone else who wanted to say something.
Ma'am, I said people, disingenuous people, basically those who are discriminated in their society.
Yes, people who are, usually women are also discriminated in our society. So they are also marginalized. People who are discriminated, weaker groups, minorities, transgender people, uh, many ethnic groups, sometimes even Pashtun people, Balochi people who do not, I mean, all of them are marginalized people, disempowered people. So the culture actually was, sorry, the school, Birmingham school was actually interested in studying culture, how culture becomes a site of resistance. You see, even PTM, Pashtun Tahaffuz movement, I think, is a site of resistance. for marginalized people, for disempowered people. Uh, the center was also influenced by Raymond Williams. I am trying to familiarize you with these important names. Raymond Williams, although he essentially focused on the study of culture, in his later works, he got interested in the study of media as well, because at that time media was also affecting culture, and culture was being affected by media. So Raymond Williams, all of these scholars who work for Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies, commonly known as Birmingham School, they were influenced by Raymond Williams. He wrote his famous book Culture and Society, jo is tarah se, like we usually italicize the names of the books, and that's what I have done in this slide. Okay, these are a few other names. I mentioned the name of Raymond Williams in my previous slide. Birmingham School's work was also influenced by another famous scholar. His name is Louis Althusser, and another name Antonio Gramsci. I'm not discussing Louis Althusser right now, because soon after we finish our discussion on encoding decoding in next class, inshallah, we will move to the study of ideology, and that all is grounded on the work of Louis Althusser. So we'll talk about Althusser at that point. Let's talk about Antonio Gramsci. How many of you are familiar with Gramsci's name? Antonio Gramsci. You haven't heard about him in any class, like in communication theories and international communication? You haven't heard about him? That's okay. Go ahead, Fatma. How do you know him?
Yes, ma'am, I've heard it, but I couldn't turn on my raise hand feature. Ma'am, basically he was an Italian Marxist philosopher, you could say. And he presented the political theory, I think, and regarding sociology and history. That's what I remember. And there are many books he wrote as well. One of the books was Prison Notebooks.
The Prison Notebook,
well.
yeah. Okay, let me tell you very briefly about Antonio Gramsci. Antonio Gramsci was an Italian journalist. He was a media person, and he was imprisoned in the time period of Mussolini in Italy. Mussolini, you may have heard Mussolini. Mussolini was a fascist Italian leader, and he was imprisoned, and he remained prison, I think, for the rest of his life. And during that time period when he was in jail, he wrote wonderful pieces of work, which was later published, I think posthumously, I'm not sure though. So that is known as the Prison Notebooks. And in that book has ideas related to, like Fatma said, related to political science, related to sociology, but that also has ideas related to media as well. And in that book, he proposed an idea, media hegemony. I'll write this in the chat box. Media hegemony. So he proposed this idea that how media can be used to promote certain ways of thought or certain ideas that can be helpful for elite to maintain their control, to maintain their power, to maintain their dominance. And he said that media can be used as one of the important tools in a given culture by elites to maintain control. So that was the main idea of media hegemony, which was proposed and put forward by Antonio Gramsci. Antonio Gramsci was a Marxist scholar, philosopher. And by the way, we said that Frankfurt School, they were neo-Marxists. Birmingham School scholars, they too were neo-Marxists. However, Frankfurt School scholars, they are early neo-Marxists. They came after them. Of course, you see, Frankfurt School is coming in 1923, and this is in 1960s. So again, they were also drawing their ideas on Marx. So Birmingham School scholars are also neo-Marxists. So scholars who were associated with Birmingham School, they were highly influenced by Raymond Williams, by Louis Althusser, and by Antonio Gramsci. and this is what I have written in this bullet, the ideas of Althusser and Gramsci became building blocks for scholars associated with the Birmingham School and resulted in the school's focus upon studying domination and resistance. All right. How many of you are familiar with the man that you see in this screen and his name? I have written his name too in the slide. How many of you are familiar? Has anyone ever seen him or heard about him?
I've heard, actually, you mentioned it to me to read his work. So I read a few articles regarding Stuart Hall.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, that's okay. Okay, let me tell you, the man that you see on the screen is one of my favorite scholars. He is the one who proposed the model encoding decoding that we are going to discuss in our next class. Stuart Hall. And Stuart Hall is let me tell you very briefly his history. He belonged to Jamaica. Jamaica is the name of a country. Has anyone heard about Jamaica? I think it's close to Cuba. It's in Caribbean Sea, the country Jamaica. He was. Hanji? Okay, Stuart Hall was born in Jamaica. He came from Jamaica, but you know what happened? You know, you all are familiar with Oxford University, right? One of the very prestigious universities in world. So, so Oxford University, they give scholarships to students. They give, they have this scholarship. Has anyone heard about Rhodes Scholarship? I'll write it in the chat box. Rhodes Scholarship. Rhodes Scholarship. Oxford University gives this scholarship to brilliant students. And for Pakistanis, they have only one scholarship every year. Like the scholarship is awarded to only one person every year. There was this Senate chairman, Pakistan Senate chairman, Wasim Sajjad. He's a Rhodes Scholar. Like he was awarded this scholarship. Stuart Hall, he was from Jamaica. He won Rhodes Scholarship to study at the University of Oxford. He studied at University of Oxford, and he also got interested in ideas related to cultural studies. And he studied Raymond Williams, Gramsci, Louis Althusser for a considerable amount of time. So after Richard Hoggart was the first director of Birmingham School, like the Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies. After Richard Hoggart, Stuart Hall became the director of cultural studies program at the University of Birmingham. He became the director of Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies, Stuart Hall. And he produced marvelous essays related to media, culture, and society. He wrote essays related to representation. He wrote books related to stereotypes in media. Media creates stereotypes, does it? It does. We recently saw the release of a drama, Mere Paas Tum Ho. Pakistanis were crazy about that drama. And later, many people talked about this idea that how drama was promoting stereotypes. Stuart Hall wrote essays related to Orientalism, related to Western imperialism, related to Western domination. And I love him for his essay, The West and the Rest. And then whatever he wrote is amazing. So Stuart Hall is whenever we are doing media, culture, and society, we cannot do it without Stuart Hall. Even we cannot do media theories without Stuart Hall. Like I said, the theory of encoding, decoding, this person that you see on the screen is architect of that theory. You may have heard ideas of connotation, denotation. This person right here is the one who came up with all these ideas, and he proposed these ideas, Stuart Hall. Okay, any question about Stuart Hall? Any confusion? All right. So this is the idea, this is the essay. Stuart Hall, as you all can see, in 1980, he uh, he wrote this essay, Encoding Decoding, in a book. Like, this came in the form of a book chapter, an essay which was published in this book. The book's name is Culture, Media, Language, Working Papers in Cultural Studies. Okay, we will discuss this essay in detail in our next class, inshallah. We are not doing it today. Today, let's talk about this idea, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen as well. I'm going to ask you this question, that what do you think, does Pakistani culture present itself as a site of resistance, especially media or culture? If you can come give me example from media or culture, whatever you want to say, it's up to you. Resistance against elites, against domination, against hegemony. Okay, let me give you example first, and then okay, when I was sharing my slides with you, I gave you the example of PTM, Pak Pashtun Tahaffuz movement. Similarly, we have examples from literature, from people in the field of poetry. Habib Jaleb. How many of you are familiar with famous poet Habib Jaleb?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Everyone,
Okay.
man.
Very good. Everyone almost. So during the military regime of General Ziaul Haq, he's famous for writing poetry, Main Nahi Manta, I refuse to admit. Remember? So don't you think that the culture, Pakistani culture, became a site of resistance against military dictatorship? And I will also give you examples of media. Okay, let's talk about media example. So there is this music band. There is this music band that was that came into being, I think, in 2011, and I'll write their name in chat box. Okay, I wrote their name in the chat box. How many of you are familiar with their name? Begairat Brigade.
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
I've heard of it.
one of their songs got famous,
Yeah.
Aloo Ande, something like that.
Aloo Ande. Very good, very good. And yes. And what is, by the way, what is brigade? It's a subdivision in armed forces, brigade. And Begairat, of course, we all know, shameless shameless brigade. That's how they name their band. And Fatima is right, they got famous for their song Aloo Ande in 2013. I don't remember the year the song
No,
came.
ma'am, it was earlier, I think 2011, not 12.
Maybe then, but I think they started producing music in 2011, but I'm not sure. I need to check. So how many of you have seen the video or heard the song Aloo Ande? I'll write the name.
Ma'am, I have, and I think Fatma is right. It was an older song,
Acha,
but
chalo.
I can check. Yeah.
Okay. Abdullah has heard the song. Fatima has heard the song.
I have as well.
You have as well. Very good. Irha. And anyone else? Would anyone like
No,
to?
ma'am.
Would anyone?
Ma'am, I
Sa-
would like to.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Go ahead.
I would like to.
Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
ma'am, I haven't listened to it. I just wanted to say that.
Okay, would anyone like to talk about the song? Like, what is it? What have they done in the song?
Ma'am, बचपन में सुना था पहली बार तो it sounded like a really casual song. Like it just sounded like someone just decided to make a song one day and they just didn't even like plan it. But now, if you listen to it, it sounds kind of chaotic and like it sounds like it has another meaning to it.
Not chaotic, maybe. It has cynicism and criticism as well. Okay, Now it's today's homework. Fatima, you want to say something?
No, ma'am, I was.
Yeah, Fatima, go ahead, please. Fatima, bete, you need to unmute your mic.
No, ma'am, I didn't say anything.
Okay. In Alu, okay, it's today's homework. Listen to that song. In that song, they are criticizing Pakistan's bureaucracy. They are criticizing establishment. They are criticizing Pakistani culture. They are also criticizing Pakistani public's discriminatory attitude toward women. And see how media here, especially in the form of a rock band, how media presents itself as a site of resistance within a given culture. I think the song Alu Ande, which was presented by Begairat Brigade, is a very good example of this sort of cultural studies uh, things that British Birmingham School was doing. Okay, we'll talk more about this song in our next class. I have sensed that many of you are not familiar with this. Please go home. In normal circumstances, I would have played the song in the class for you all, but I'm not going to do it in this online class today. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. Or even if you have question related to exam, you can ask that too. जी जी.
मैम मैंने जब ये गाना सुना था मुझे लगा ये महंगाई के ऊपर है सिर्फ शायद.
They have criticized a number of things, but I'm not going to be a spoiler here. I would let you listen to that song again, and we'll talk about that in next class. Okay? And any question? Any question?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
You.
No, ma'am.
No,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you so much.
ठीक
No,
है,
ma'am. Thank you.
ठीक है. Please listen to the song. This is your today's homework, and then come prepared to talk about it in the next class on Monday. ठीक है? Everyone can leave except for Aksa. I think she had some confusion about the exam, and there was another student, Faika maybe, I have forgotten. So whoever wants to ask any question about the exam, they can stay and